Welcome to Film Strip. These podcasts are spoiler filled as we discuss the plots, characters, and themes of the films in review. All content used or discussed in these podcast episodes is the property of the respective owners and used under the Fair Use Act, Section 504, C2, Title 17.
Welcome to Film Strip. I'm Lindsay.
I'm Ryan.
I'm Ron.
And we are talking about Clue, starring Eileen Brennan, Madeline Kahn, Christopher Lloyd, Michael McKean, Leslie Ann Warren, Martin Mull, Colleen Camp, Lee Ving, Bill Henderson, Jane Whelan, Jeffrey Kramer, Kelly Nakahara, Howard Hesseman, and Tim Curry, written by John Landis and Jonathan Lynn, based on the game by Anthony E. Pratt, directed by Jonathan Lynn, and released in 1985, and didn't make a big splash, but has developed a cult following through the years. Now, I would like to start with, I think Ryan and Ron, you've both seen this movie before. Let's start with you, Ryan. What's your background with this movie?
My parents were the ones who introduced this to me at a pretty early age. I'd say like my preteens to early teens. Um, this was just a film that they absolutely loved. They were big fans of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, of course. Big Tim Curry fans. And Murder by Death is another fan favorite in my household, which Eileen Brennan was in. So, like, of course, they had to see this and they had to love it. So this is one of my favorite go-to films. This is one of the films that I can probably do a lot of quoting on. And it's one of those films that it's like a comfort movie, kind of like Practical Magic is, or Young Frankenstein. This one's up there. And also, this film is very dear to me because it was my first introduction to Madeline Kahn, who was a big inspiration for my acting career and how I perform as an actress. So, but Ron, what about you?
Um, this was not like a childhood favorite or a movie I had any particular uh, special fondness for. However, it was on HBO all the time. So I think I ended up flipping past it and saying, oh, there's Martin Mull, I like him. There's Michael McKean, I like him. There's Tim Curry's there, Madeline Kahn's there. And is that the guy from Fear? What's he doing in a movie? And it was the guy from Fear. And he was in this movie, doing his best John Belushi impression. So I was like, all right, I'll watch this. And it just hooked me immediately. And the story got so progressively funnier as it went along. I was like, all right, this thing's a blast. And then by the very end, like I was completely like, I'm on board and I watched it. I don't know, every time I was able to catch it, if I could catch it halfway through, if I could get it like 20 minutes before the end, I was going to jump on and I was going to watch a few minutes of Clue. Um, so not a long time favorite or not an old time favorite, but definitely a late teens discovery that I was very happy about. Lindsay?
I first saw this movie when I was a junior in high school in my drama class. My theater teacher showed this movie to the class, and I could not remember why. I think it was an example of, like, I don't know, characterizations or, any number of different things. There are a lot of different things you could take from it. Also, they used a lot of playwrights in kind of the making of this film. So it was one of the big, like, 4 or 5 movies that we studied that year in high school drama. And it was a favorite of mine since then. It was one of the movies that I watched a lot in college. It was definitely a comfort movie, Ryan. I think you said the same thing. So I would watch it a lot when I was really stressed, or I would have it on in the background when I was, had homework going on. And I haven't watched it in a while. And I watched it with my Brian, and this was the first time that he had ever seen it. And he goes, "What am I watching?" But he enjoyed it.
Hmm.
So it's just, and that's kind of, I don't know, it's just every little bit is, I don't know, it's just so, I could just eat it up. It's so enjoyable for me. And Ryan, I love that you mentioned Madeline Kahn was a big inspiration to you, because I swear when I was watching this movie, one of the things I kept thinking was, Ryan could totally play this part.
It's a dream. It is up there as like anything Madeline
I
Kahn
need
in
to see
general.
Mrs. White. I need to.
Madeline Kahn is such a fantastic actress, and I'll get into probably later like that whole thing because I don't know. I know you did, Lindsay, I think, but I don't know if Ron you did. But there is a second documentary. There's a documentary series specifically on Clue, which I recommend to fans of it. It's called Who Done It, a Clue documentary, and they kind of go over the character, the actors that they picked for the characters, and some things I learned in it that I went, "Whoa, this would have been a completely different film had such and such happened, and this person had been put in this role." And but I guess more to come on that one.
Yeah. Well, before we get too deep into it, like I will throw this plot summary out here so we can get into the nitty-gritty. Plot summary compliments of ChatGPT. The big reveal is that absolutely everyone is guilty of something, but only depending on which ending you're watching. Six neurotic strangers are lured to a mansion by their blackmailer, Mr. Body, who promptly gets murdered because, shockingly, blackmailers are unpopular. Through a whirlwind of farcical corpse counting, misplaced weapons, and Tim Curry achieving Olympic level hysteria, the film presents multiple endings where the suspects variously commit the murders, accidentally help commit the murders, or reveal themselves as government agents who really should have stayed at home. The true ending declares that nearly all of the guests did it. Plum kills Body, Peacock kills the cook, Mustard kills the motorist, Scarlet kills the cop, Mrs. White kills Yvette, only for Wadsworth to reveal he was the real blackmailer all along and murdered Mr. Body, and the murdered Mr. Body was just his butler, until Mr. Green unmasks himself as an undercover FBI agent and shoots Wadsworth. The real culprit is chaos, repression, and the idea that giving rich weirdos candlesticks was a mistake. And then Mr. Green goes home and sleeps with his wife.
Fabulous as always.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's a perfect encapsulation of a movie that's got a ton of stuff going on,
Yeah,
Hmm.
there's a ton
especially
of
at the
stuff
end.
going on, but there's not a lot going on, right? That was a really brief summary,
But
but
it's
it's
true.
just, yeah, the it's such a, I don't even know. It's like a jam-packed, it's like a Pop-Tart. Jam-packed, full of calories, and there's just a lot going on, but there's
Yeah.
also not much going on.
Which kind of makes sense when you really think about the game as a whole. It's just kind of you always grew up with you're a piece on the board. You have to find out the three clues, which they do reference, of course, in the film. We're trying to, I think it was Tim Curry who like says, we're trying to find out who killed him and where and with what. And which, you know, it when you think about it kind of like that, it's like everyone knows the game, everyone knows the rules. It's very simplistic, but I think that the way that this film does it so perfectly is with the actors that they picked because you're
Mhm.
right, it's so simple. But with a cast as big as this, all of them having such distinct personalities is, I think, what really sells this film and makes it, and all of them absolutely hilarious.
Yeah. So, big question to kick off, Ryan and Ron. Who was your favorite character in the film? And is it your favorite character when you yourself play Clue?
Ooh,
Hmm.
Ron, I'll let you go first on this one.
That is a difficult question because I think I've played Clue once in my whole life, and I'm pretty sure I was Colonel Mustard just because that's the most memorable name. Um,
Yeah, I can see you as a Colonel Mustard.
and also, I think he's got a big mustache on his
Uh-huh, he does.
character card, so clearly, with the with my voluminous facial hair, I have no choice but to play the guy with the most facial hair. Uh, but
Indeed.
yeah, Colonel Mustard was always the one I had usually ended up with when I was playing Clue, and um, I think my favorite character in this was probably it's really a cop out to say it's Wadsworth, but it's probably Wadsworth
That's
just because Tim Curry is just absolutely on fire throughout this
yeah,
entire
Absolutely.
movie.
Yeah.
he is.
Uh,
Yeah, he's really one manning it for like the last quarter of this movie.
just the amount of lines that he has in comparison to everybody else. And I think all of us have now gotten to this point where we watch these films, you're like, oh my God, a lot of this was done in one take.
Hmm.
So that's a lot of lines to memorize. And that is, I think, Lindsay, you will agree with me as someone who has to also memorize lines, especially on stage where there is no camera.
Hmm.
Um, Absolutely insane work on his part.
Well, Tim Curry is of the theater, so
Indeed, he is. Yes.
he's no stranger to a
Love.
one take scenario, I'm sure. Ryan, who's your favorite character?
I think you know the answer to this, but it is Madeline Kahn as Mrs. White.
Hmm.
Wadsworth is a follow-up, and I say that because I also really love, I mean, her just deadpan responses to everything is just, I mean, Wadsworth already does that, as do a bunch of the other actors, but there's something about how she just kind of delivers it. And again, runner up is Wadsworth because I love their interactions, the two of them. It,
Hmm.
it, it I think they both of them completely like steal it for me. Not to make light on any of the other amazing actors that are in this. Um, in regards to okay, I haven't played normal Clue in years. Everybody that I know has like some people have the original version of Clue, but most that in our circle of friends has like the Harry Potter Clue, um,
Makes sense.
or the Lord of the Rings Clue. Um, the last time I played Clue was with a mutual friend of Lindsay and mine. And I think she'll figure out who I'm talking about if I asked her to watch this. So I'll see if she listened to this. So I'll see if she'll figure out that it's her. Um, she took the game so seriously, and I'm like, oh, we're just gonna take our time and have a little fun um and she's like, I already know who the killer is. I'm like, I'm just checking out the room. Can't we just take this like a little chill? And got through 3 rounds and I went, I don't want to play this anymore.
Oh, I go full Benoit Blanc when
I
I'm
okay, okay,
playing Clue
okay.
or murder mystery
Kentucky
game.
Fried Chicken. I've gotten to that. I probably should get to that point. Again, it's been a while. But when I did play it, I think I was mostly a Mrs. Scarlet fan. But I would say I didn't have like a favorite. I just
Yeah.
kind of was like, oh, Mrs. Scarlet, red is a great color, and I just grabbed it. So,
I like Miss Scarlet and Miss White and Mrs. Peacock. I mean, as far as playing the game, I wasn't going to fisticuffs with anyone over being a specific character, but in the movie, like Mrs. Peacock was really doing something for
oh,
me this go round. She was
Hmm.
just so funny. Her screams were all of the character acting in it just really, really got me in this one. But Mrs. Peacock really went above and beyond. for
Eileen
me this go
Brennan,
round.
Eileen Brennan, she was the most neurotic, I feel, out of everybody. And she's a fantastic actress as well. If you guys have not seen Murder by Death, I highly recommend watching that because she's just a treat in that one as well. Um, uh, but yeah, no, I agree with you. Like all these actors did just such an amazing job, but I do feel no, I was originally going to say like I feel like the women all really stood out, but that's not true because then I think about like Christopher Lloyd and I think about Martin Mull. Mull, am I pronouncing that right? I think I am.
Yeah,
But
Martin Mull.
yeah, like this cast was so beautifully picked. Well, I say they're beautifully picked, but as we know from watching the documentary, some of them were not the original picks, which I think is really interesting.
So I only got like a quarter of the way through the documentary. So
Okay.
what happened with the casting there that you can fill me in on?
Oh, absolutely. So John Cleese was the original like ideal actor to play Wadsworth. Um, which I could totally see. Um, also being a very fast-paced actor, but the one that blew me away was originally Leslie Ann Warren was cast as Mrs. White, and Carrie Fisher was cast
Ooh.
as Miss
What?
Scarlet. Yep.
Wow.
Um, and
I can't see her as Miss Scarlet
he
now
was,
having seen
I
Leslie and
know,
Warren.
but she was apparently her audition was really good. And but at this time, she was kind of at the, I would say she's probably at the peak of her addiction problems. And
Hmm.
she actually was in a rehab facilitation when the starting of filming happened. And I
Oh
guess she
wow.
kind of sold it as, oh, they'll let me out during the day. And they went, okay. And that never happened. So Leslie Ann Warren was moved to Miss Scarlet, and they asked Madeline Kahn to come in and play Mrs. White,
Interesting.
which Leslie Ann Warren states, she states that she thought she connected more with Miss Scarlet than she did with Mrs. White. And knowing this information just completely, that bit completely blew my mind because I could not picture Leslie Ann Warren as Mrs. White and Carrie Fisher as Miss Scarlet. I think
No.
that I think that the way that things worked out was borderline perfect. And then
Yeah,
we also,
anytime
oh no, you
like
go ahead, Ryan.
anytime you're I was gonna say anytime your second choice for a role is Madeline Kahn and you end up getting Madeline Kahn, things worked out in your benefit.
Oh, and the other thing that I thought was interesting, this was also in the documentary, the gentleman from Fear, his lines were dubbed throughout the entire film.
Hmm.
Apparently that is not that is not that actor speaking his lines, but it's like an unknown voice actor who did it. Like there's no credit on the at the end for him.
I mean, it doesn't sound like Lee, but it's
Hmm.
I don't understand why they would dub his voiceover completely
Yeah.
unless it was just unusable or they were going for like an accent that he couldn't do, which they didn't. They went for a pretty straight ahead voice.
Hmm.
Not an he's not an unarticulate guy. I don't
Hmm.
understand. Like,
Yeah. I think the
and he's got a
joke.
really he's got
No.
like a really cool sounding normal voice. So
Hmm.
Hmm.
I think the person doing the documentary was like, it sounds like Joe Montana. And I went, oh
a little
yeah,
bit.
kind of. But I guess he reached out to Joe Montana and he's like, it wasn't me. So, um, but I was like, they Lena Lamonted him for my Singing in the Rain fans. Uh, but absolutely crazy cast of actors, all incredibly talented. Like, I don't think there's a weak person. I guess you could say that some actors you didn't really get to see on film so much because they drop dead pretty quickly.
Yeah. Who is your favorite side character and why is it the singing telegram girl?
Well, I can tell you the why, because it's Jane Wiedling from the Go-Go's,
Yeah,
and she's super adorable.
She is
and she
super
was
adorable.
very cute. That was the quick
And it
that
is the
scene.
funniest. Yeah, it's the funniest bit
Death.
for me. Like I
Yeah.
look forward to that bit every time I watch the movie. Every time. And honestly, I was a little sad that Brian didn't laugh as hard as I thought he should when she
Oh,
got shot.
I'm offended for you. I'll
Oh,
have to
that's
have a conversation with him later.
that killed me dead. That was really funny to
I
me.
know. I still think it's the one of the funniest parts in the whole thing.
Well, it also that scene is so they're all so used now to seeing dead bodies because even when they brought her in, they just dropped her from their shoulders. They're like, "Well, let's put her in with the others." Drop, and that's
Hmm.
it. So it it was just so aggressive. They shot her and they just aggressively slammed the door. They're like they're not even being quiet anymore. They just
We're done.
dead.
We're done with this shit.
Oh,
I
That's
did
really
like
funny because
the
it makes me think of a different Madeline Kahn movie with her and Steve Martin, Mixed Nuts. How they treat the
oh.
have you seen Mixed Nuts?
It's been a very long time, but I know which movie you're talking about.
You
yeah.
should rewatch it because the way they treat the corpse in that is
Oh God.
also hilarious.
Okay, yeah, I'll have to watch it again. Although this makes me want to watch Murder by Death again, which, um, usually I pair those two. Uh, but who's my favorite side character? It's probably the singing telegram girl, but oh, hmm, maybe Yvette a little bit.
You know what? I'd put Yvette as like a main character. I thought the cop was really funny when he
Yeah.
goes, especially as, oh, there's nothing illegal about this. They're just
Oh
having
my
a
God.
good time. And it's clearly a keys in the fishbowl type of setup.
I actually thought of you,
And the
Lindsay, when
cop's like, yeah, it's good.
I was actually thinking about you, Lindsay, when that whole thing went down, and I went,
Oh, good.
"Aw, necrophiliac snuggles."
You're gonna give our listeners a very weird impression of
Not
me.
at all, because we actually quoted it in The Talented Mr. Ripley, which is what this is from. That
That's
reference is
right.
from. So go
Yeah. Go
back and
back to
watch.
the archives
Yeah, go
and
back
listen
and
to
watch.
us talk about what was we thought a good movie and ended up being a really terrible movie.
No, I think we still gave it a pretty decent review.
We were generous.
Jay
We were
gave us
very
the
generous.
Jay gave us some great insight that I don't think we thought about, but I
That's
was
how
like,
it happens sometimes. That's how it happens sometimes.
yes.
Jay ruins my thimble of popcorn rating.
Well, I actually do. I feel like I have to go back to the archives and see if you ever mentioned a thimble of
Uh,
popcorn.
I did not.
Okay.
I don't think I did. I don't think I did. But we digress. What were we talking about?
Yvette.
Necrophiliac snuggles. That's right.
Oh yes,
The
the cop was
fishbowl and
funny
the
too.
cop party. Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably seen it all. He didn't see that blow to the head, but
Yeah. I I liked the would you like to talk about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ bit too at the very end?
uh,
These are all very small but very effective
mhm.
side characters.
I like.
Yeah, everybody who shows up in this movie has something to do,
Mhm,
Yeah.
and it's always really interesting business. Especially like the cook. We haven't talked about her, but
mhm.
she shows up and she's the most aggressively violent person in the movie because she shows up. She immediately has that knife that she turns around and almost stabs Wadsworth. She shows up and she beats that gong like 8 times really loudly. Just a bundle of rage. It's really funny.
Yeah. Why why are cooks so angry?
mean, she's cooking monkey's brains.
Yeah.
What do you
Oh,
think?
yeah, that's fair. That's true. That's a good
I was going
point.
to say they're probably because they haven't had access to their mirror and their bump supply in a while.
Mm.
The only thing she was missing was like to be chain smoking while cooking, and it would have been like perfect.
That whole opening was, I think, really good. Like it kind of sets this like precedence almost because we have the really creepy like rolling up to the house, and then we have the really scary dogs, and then we've got um the cook like sharpening knives and pointing it at Wadsworth, and then the next thing you know, Yvette is polishing balls, literally.
Right by the pool table.
Indeed.
She's a
Well,
lady
Yeah,
who
it's
knows what she's doing.
that's where she began, and that's where she ended.
Mm-hmm.
oh fun.
Surrounded by balls.
Mm.
It's a very fun. That's a very fun bit of setup too for her.
Hmm.
To have
Does
her start out in that room and then end in that room, and
Hmm.
ditto the chef. We see her in the kitchen, and then we see her in the freezer.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh,
I guess they could have worked a way to have Lee Ving come out of the bathroom at some point, but that's okay.
yeah. Oh my God. It's just like and it's kind of funny when you think about it. It's like to some extent this is where they started and this is where they ended, especially with those two. I mean, the reality is that kind of every room that was utilized, that was their start and their end, which kind of worked out. But I think that for like the cop and the motorcycle and the motorist, you didn't think about it, but it wasn't until we were just talking right now that for the cook and for Yvette, they started in their specific rooms and that's where they died. And then the poor
Hmm.
singing telegram girl, she didn't stand a chance. She wasn't even invited in.
who? Wait, who? I never thought about this until now. Who do you think was sending a singing telegram?
Well,
I
if I
I
oh,
think that was part of. Uh, I think that was part of how everybody involved in the situation like was related to each other in some way.
mhm.
Uh,
Oh, do
and
you think Wadsworth
then
had her
the
come?
yes,
Yeah,
Okay.
or
Yeah,
Mr.
that makes sense.
Body.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and I think that was just this is the way I could get her to be here is to do this setup,
Hmm.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
Yep.
like to
Depending.
hire her services as a singing telegram is the only way we're going to get her to show up here. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So depending upon which ending, it was either Wadsworth, Mr. Body, again.
Slash,
yeah,
yeah,
Yep.
Wadsworth slash Mr.
Slash
Body,
Mr.
I
Ha
guess.
ha
Yeah.
ha ha. I
Tim
see what you
Curry.
did
It
there.
was Tim Curry.
A lot of slashing. I see what you did
Uh-huh.
there.
Ah, ah, ah.
You're so funny.
Ah, so funny. I kill myself. Crack myself up.
You're so funny.
Um, so the what words and thoughts, Lindsay, words and thoughts.
It's okay.
Ryan,
Yeah.
how or Ron, and Ryan, I don't know if this came up at all in the document that you watched,
Hmm. Hmm.
but the pacing
Hmm.
of this and well, the chemistry between everyone was great, right?
Hmm.
I think we can all agree there. The
Hmm.
pacing as I was watching this, it was just like flashback after flashback of of the female version Odd Couple and being yelled
Yep.
at to go faster
Yep.
and faster and faster and faster and faster. And I was like, I wonder how many times they had to run these lines so that it was just like on top of it, immediately on top of each other. Like, don't give each other a single breath.
Wow, I don't want to say I got PTSD. That's not the right
I
word, but
know.
I did get a little triggered, especially the opening game that you and I had to be like when he was like faster, faster, faster. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my God. I think they actually did compare the inspiration to some extent, and I thought this too as I got older, is very much a Neil Simon stage play.
Mm.
Um, and especially with the fast pace, as somebody who's been in a couple of Neil Simon plays, um, and but I agree with you because I think Neil Simon did The Odd Couple, um, and he did Leading Ladies, which is another show that I was in. And it's very fast paced and it's very dry. Like you have to pay attention in order for the
Mhm.
joke to land. So,
Well, I think
yeah,
Tom Stoppard had some influence in this too, and he's the playwright that did Sleuth
yes,
and Death Trap, both of
mhm,
which have very similar
yes,
scripting
yes.
structure.
I think he was, and I think he was supposed to be the director for, no, the writer or something like that. But then he had a conflict and he bowed out. Um, but they do give him a credit, I believe, in the opening um, credits, saying that he
Yeah.
did help write this,
Yeah.
which that piece made so much sense when I learned it.
Yeah. But the amount of work that I assume they had to put in with just going over and over and over and over and over all of these lines, because when it was on film, it was flawless. Like they were just, you really had to pay attention, and I think this is the trouble with a movie is that reads and
Like a play.
plays like a play, is that
Yep.
in a play, when you have a laugh line, you know it, and people laugh, and you can
Hmm.
pause for a second and let them laugh and then keep going, but in a movie,
Yeah.
you don't have it.
Right.
So, they were going, 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 which is
Hmm.
great, and I've seen the movie a million times, so now I know a lot of the lines, but watching it with someone who's watching it for the first time is when I realized, "Oh, he's actually missing a lot
Yeah.
because now I'm laughing or he's laughing, and the next line is also funny."
Yeah, which I think is also an issue with like Neil Simon plays in general. I think everything is hilarious, but
Same.
those are one of those like I am somebody who when I go to the theater as and I think Lindsay you're like this too. Um I give full emotion as an audience member with reacting and laughing. And
Yeah. I'm, like,
sometimes
embarrassingly loud when
same.
I'm in the audience.
Yeah. And but the problem is that if you don't really know the play or the musical, um, you laugh, and especially with like Neil Simon or any of the or anything kind of in that style of performing, um, you miss you miss things because you're laughing and you're trying
Mhm.
to collect yourself from the last laugh, um, which can be, I guess, the benefit of having it on film is that you can go back and watch it over and over and over again. But you were right; it was very fast paced. Like I was when I was watching it again, I noticed that there were a couple of little like physical action jokes, like Colonel Mustard getting closed in by the door shelf, and he was like, "Oh," and I'm like laughing. And I guess for whatever reason, my brain went, "Oh, the major slapstick happens when people start dying." And it didn't. It started early, but you weren't really paying attention to it as much because you thought, "Oh, it's just so chill." And I give kudos to the soundtrack, like the soundtrack for this movie, because I think that that is something that really makes you realize, when you need to be quick energied and when it's a little bit more chill. Because like we had the very somber music at the
Mhm.
beginning,
Hmm.
and true story, whenever I hear like the I know who done it music, I'm like, oh, I need to run around. I need to go run to one room and run to another room and so on and so forth. Um, but Ron, what is your opinion about, like it does read a lot like a play, which actually it is now on stage.
Oh, see, The thing that it reminds me the most of are specifically the early Marx Brothers movies, the ones that were
Yes.
based
Yeah.
off of the ones that were based off of their vaudeville act. And it's
Mm-hmm.
funny because the pacing is so familiar to me because it's just all right. Here's a wall of jokes. Here,
Yeah.
we're gonna have the quick, fast talking verbal jokes, and we're also gonna throw some slapstick in there. And
Mm-hmm.
if you miss a joke, that's okay because here comes the next one, and you'll get that one. Or
Yeah.
if a joke doesn't land, just wait because there's another one coming right now. It's very much a similar pacing to um, those Marx Brothers movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's one of those things that coming along at the time it did, they were like, well, this will get us, we'll get multiple viewings on home video. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this is going to be a thing that's going to get some play at VHS because it's early
Mhm.
enough in the VHS development cycle that everything gets play, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we can shoehorn these jokes in, and if they don't catch it the first time, well, they'll catch it on home video,
Mm-hmm.
um, or they'll catch it on cable, or syndicated TV or whatever, and it's an interesting kind of like it's it's both very much a product of like the vaudeville era, but
Mm-hmm.
also very much a product of like that early 80s home video boom explosion.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, the pacing is straight up like farce pacing. It's crazy how quickly things start to go off the rails from the beginning of the movie, if that makes sense. Like the the wackiness is starting very early,
You
starting with
actually,
starting with like Colonel Mustard getting stuck behind the door, which I almost missed this time. And then when they're all in there eating their soup, there's just he brings
just,
the spoon up and he slurps really
The
loudly, and
uh-huh.
Mrs. I think it's Mrs. White stares at him like
Yep.
daggers, but then she picks up her spoon and does the exact same thing, and then
Yes.
everyone stares at her. It's so funny to me.
Yes, and then of course Eileen Brennan being like, "Well, let me break the silence and everything." It's like, okay, maybe. But that brings up a very good point, is that the vaudeville style was starting to go out during that time. Like the only film that to me really comes to mind that is kind of like that is Noise is Off, which was done in early 1990s. But we don't see that really anymore. Like the fast pace, like joke after joke after joke after slapstick after joke. And I think that when you brought up the Marx Brothers, that was a really good point. Um, and the VHS thing, I know that that's what kind of made this movie a cult classic because, as Lindsay brought up when we were at the beginning of this movie did not do well in theaters. Um, and one of the things that was brought up was they were worried. Well, actually, there was some complaints about the fact that there were three different endings, which they kind of
Mhm.
thought would bring people back to the theater, and it didn't because they're like, now we've got to go to a different theater. But when this came out on VHS and then DVD, the opportunity to see all three endings, I think, is what really made this a cult classic.
And what's funny about that is that is a William Castle gimmick. There was
Hmm.
a movie he produced, and I forget the name of it because I'm talking about it, so I'm going to forget. But in the movie, there was a chance for the audience to vote on which ending they wanted, and allegedly nobody ever chose the happy ending. They chose the sad ending. Um, uh, so there was this whole second ending that was filmed, and then they would, I guess, run that on a separate. Like the movie would stop and they would take the votes, and then they would load up and run that last reel while everybody was taking their votes,
Oh,
which was insane to think about, right? But
yeah.
apparently nobody ever chose the one of the endings, the positive ending, and everybody went with the ending where the guy dies or whatever. So, so I'm not
I
sure
get
if anyone ever solved it.
I mean, as a video gamer, like there's always the good ending, the meh ending, and the bad ending. And I always am like,
Hmm.
oh, first run, I'm gonna do the good ending. So I always look to see what the bad and the meh ending is. So I guess kind of that mentality comes up. It's like, oh, good ending. They live happily ever after, or whatever. So I guess morbid curiosity gets the better of the majority of the vote, I suppose.
But I love the fact that in this presentation we get all three of the endings
Hmm.
Yeah.
with the silent movie title cards in between them, which
Yes.
was also
That
really funny.
it has been so long since I've seen this movie. I'm sad to say. I forgot about the silent movie cards, and
Yeah.
that cracked me up. I got so excited when I saw that
I
pop up.
I have a business plan, and for 2 years now running, I have these, it's like it has fun like silent like film cards. And I literally wrote, and now for something completely different, which is kind of an homage. But I was thinking about several things, but Clue was something that came to mind because it's like, well, that was one ending. Here's another one.
Yeah, as long as you didn't include the person responsible for writing these cards has been sacked, you're
Oh
probably
no, I
okay.
didn't. Well, I hope they don't sack me. I'm the one who wrote it. Did you know that there's a fourth ending?
Really? I did
Yes.
not know that.
It did not make it to screen, but I guess there's a special edition book in which there is a fourth ending. And it's kind of dumb, so I totally understand why it didn't make it to the cinematic universe. But it's kind of similar to the last ending, and then Wadsworth manages to escape, and he's trying to drive away, and um the two dogs are in the back, and they cause him to crash.
Okay, that's pretty funny. I'd watch that one too.
Yeah, I'd watch it.
That part is funny. The beginning and the middle, you're just kind of like, okay,
The
whatever.
beginning and the middle fall under the meh category.
Yeah, they fall into the meh category. What was okay? I'm curious, Lindsay and Ron, what was your favorite ending?
I was just asking myself this question. I think I kind of like the first ending the best, where Miss Scarlet is the killer.
Hmm.
I don't know why. I don't know.
Is
They're
it the
all
one
fine.
plus one plus two
I
plus
think
one?
that yeah, that bit was great.
You can get
But
that on a t-shirt.
maybe I need to.
Next
Yeah, I
Christmas
don't know.
present.
All the endings were fine. I don't think I didn't love while I mentioned Mrs. Peacock really just was everything for me this viewing of the movie. So I think that's why I liked her version of being the killer least, because she
Hmm.
wasn't Mrs. Peacock anymore. She made that transition from being crazy Mrs. Peacock to, oh, now I'm a badass, cool as a cucumber killer. And I'm
Hmm.
not Mrs. Peacock anymore. And I was like, nah, I want the crazy lady that eats monkey brains and
Yeah.
screams.
She whipped off her glasses. She was no longer
I
Clark
know.
Kent. She was Superman. She's like, so?
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
To to talk about another ensemble movie that we didn't include in this one for obvious reasons, she had her Kaiser Soze moment. I didn't like it either.
Yeah. Right? Yeah.
Hmm.
What
Like if
was
she
your
had somehow
favorite,
been like
Ron?
if she had somehow been ditzy and still done the murders, then I'm okay with it. But
Yeah.
when she's like, all right, I'm not the goofy Mrs. Peacock anymore. I'm now this, hard ass murderer. I was
Yeah.
Yeah.
not a fan.
It,
Yeah.
As
I
for
think that's
me,
why I didn't like it.
yeah.
as for me, I love convoluted bullshit. So like the third ending where everybody's
Hmm.
killing everybody else
Yeah.
is the one that I kind of enjoyed the most because it's it's incredibly funny to me that they're all like, we can't to think that where they're all, we can't go out together. One of us is going to be stuck with the real killer when you're all the real
Hmm.
killer.
Yeah.
You're all terrified of each other, and yet you're the ones doing all the murdering. Like,
Hmm.
I guess you should be scared of each other because you're all killers. But at the same time, it's like, it's like, are you're to think of how cowardly everyone is in the face of murder when they're like offing people left, right, and center.
Hmm.
Yeah, to kill or be killed.
Yeah.
And,
I
and
mean,
to me, that little stinger at the end, and I'm gonna go home and make love to my wife. My wife
Sleep with my wife.
is just so absurd, and it comes out of nowhere that it makes the perfect like weird bumper on the end of this thing.
hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
so
I
that's probably my
I will never forget. And I forgot that that line was at the end of the final ending. And it cracked me up because I have been in a actually, Ryan, I think you were in this audition, in a we'll call it a stressful audition. They're all stressful, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
after one of the women who auditioned said, "I'm gonna go home and sleep with my husband," and then
Yeah.
she just left, and I was like, "All right,
I mean, respect,
go
but
do that."
I guess you're not coming back to read anymore. Is it our turn
That
now?
wasn't yeah, and that's not exactly what she said, but
More or less. I think I was
expletive
there with
deleted,
you.
but yeah,
The,
it was
we
but it
read
was
between the
great.
lines.
Yeah, I never honestly, um and I never put it together that it came from this movie, but that audition moment lives rent free in my brain from time to time, and
God.
and then when it came up in this movie, I was like, "Oh, no way. That's where she got it from."
The,
I
the,
love
the,
it.
this movie lives rent
That's
free in
so
my
funny.
brain. Like the amount of times that I quote it. Um, but oh, you both brought up very good points about one and three. I think though I have to go with three just because
Yeah.
it's kind of I kind of like the idea that everyone is a bad guy. Well, not a bad. Well, yeah, they kind of are a bad guy. I did like the ending with Miss Scarlet as the killer, but the benefit is that, she gets to be also, a murderer in the third one. But also I think it's because I get the famous, yes, yes, I did it. I killed a vet. I hated her so much.
Much.
Flames.
Flames.
Flames on the side of my face, and I can keep going. But um, also Wadsworth dropping her running up the stairs was hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah.
Poor Mr. Green. He faced the most of the slapstick, getting like beat in the head, getting thrown into the bathroom, you know. And that is a
The
very
bathroom
tall
bit was
man.
funny, though. He
Yeah, when
came
he
out of
comes
the
out and
bathroom wiping his hands.
Yeah,
um
that was funny.
He made it
Uh,
work,
uh,
yeah.
is he the one who said, "Please stop doing this"? Every time he
yes.
gets thrown to the when he was the one getting
He
thrown to the floor to play the
yeah,
dead body.
he was like, "Will you stop it?" And Tim Curry goes,
Yeah.
"No," and just keeps dragging him along.
Such a metaphor for Tim Curry's whole performance in this movie, where he's going where he's going, and you're going to come along whether you like it or not.
Yeah, pretty much. And the music, and again, the music sets that entire situation because they're just running from room to room. And I mean, there's just and just it starts off with no music where he's like, "Okay, I know who did it." And everyone's like, "You do?" He's like, "I'll tell you how it was all done. Follow me." And then it just starts off really kind of slow, and then it just continues to pick up and get louder and louder and louder, and you're like, "Who did it? Who did it? Who did it?" And then you get and then he switches off the electricity, and the music just stops, and then everybody screams, and then you get your ending. So it's
And
like
that's
yeah.
like the bit that feels the most like a Marx Brothers bit in terms of
Mm-hmm.
structure
Mm.
because it starts out very normal
Mm-hmm.
and it gets progressively more madcap. It reminds me a
Mhm.
lot in terms of the development of the stateroom scene from is it Duck Soup or Animal Crackers? The one where they're on the
Um,
cruise ship,
it's
Uh,
animal
Animal
cracker.
Crackers.
I
I
think
think
it's
it's
animal
animal
Yeah,
cracker.
crackers, yeah.
Yeah.
and the guy and they're the three of them are in that basically this closet with the giant case, and then the guy comes in
Mm-hmm.
to do a thing, and then two more people come in, and then they order all this room service, so people just start bringing in plates of things, and then other
Yeah.
people show up, and by the end, there's like 30 people crammed in that room, and Groucho's like, well, you can find some space on the ceiling if you can get up there. And then the door to the point where the door explodes out, and that kind of just the manicness builds and builds and
Yeah.
builds and builds till you get to the big crazy reveal kind of
Mm-hmm.
at the end. And that's one of the reasons why I think the third ending where everybody's a murderer is the one that kind of works the best for me because it's such a
Mm-hmm.
like, well, we're just going to get crazier and crazier and crazier, and what's the craziest possible thing you could say? Everybody here has killed someone except for
Yeah.
Wadsworth,
Well,
or
except for Mr.
except for
Green. Yeah.
excuse me, except for Mr.
Mhm.
Green.
Because
Uh,
he kept screaming, I didn't do it. And like even
yes,
in all three endings, like, I told you I didn't do it. Everyone's like, oh, shut up. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, I to go back to Neil Simon, when I did my production of Leading Ladies, and all my love for the cast, if they're listening to this, but in Leading Ladies, at the very end, instead of the traditional bows, we literally run from and pose in certain scenes backwards. So like it start
oh
like we
wow,
would run and do like a pose from a scene, go back a little bit. Like so we would be running like to, the complete opposite of the stage, going upstairs, going downstairs. And so like that kind of reminded me of this whole moment where it's like you have no chance to really catch your breath before you have to move to the next thing. And mentally, I think that's what's happening in this film is that you're trying to keep up with what's happening and trying to piece together who you think the killer is. And
hmm
I think they did a fantastic job of that. But you are right. I think Mark's the Animal Crackers is another great example. And as you pointed out, very vaudeville in this entire
yeah,
movie. Yeah.
Also, like, I don't even know how Tim Curry could have run a road race on that energy.
Oh
I'm
my
pretty
God.
sure he ran at least a 10K while filming this. He had to have, like, just back and forth
I
and
mean, yeah.
speaking at the same time.
I mean, very much like if people that are in musicals and they do big dance numbers and then they have to sing.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. He nailed it
yeah.
though.
And the fact that he's not running into these scenes and being blown up is really
Yeah.
impressive too.
And then he turned into Satan.
Just
That joke would
like
land. I thought that joke would land. Okay.
uh that's all
well,
right.
it's like it's like this movie. That joke will land with people in our audience. I guarantee it. So
I genuinely, I believe that movie came out before this one, which is what threw me off.
mm.
I went, really? I wouldn't have anticipated, I thought it would have been the other way around, but um, yeah. I mean, Tim Curry's an incredibly talented actor. Um, and again, I know that John
And he
Cleese
looks
would,
great in a teddy.
he's very dapper. He's very pretty.
Look,
And
he
his
does.
South African question mark accent, no, Russian accent in Congo is hilarious.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever seen Congo.
It's a
It's
treat.
not it's not good, but he is really
Okay.
funny in it. He
That's,
has a
yeah.
great scene with who is it? The African police sergeant guy.
Oh, shoot, let me look it up. Sorry.
Is it
I'm
Ernie
gonna
Hudson?
mm, hang on. I think so. Hang on.
Oh
it's one of
wait,
those things where it's gonna
Congo,
drive.
1995 Congo
Yeah.
Yes.
with
Yes, it
yeah,
is
yeah,
Ernie
yeah.
Hudson. Yes, yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
with Laura Linney. Yes, I
Yeah.
have seen that. I saw it probably shortly after it came out, and I have not watched it since.
I saw it in the theater for my friend's birthday. We all went to the movies to see that together.
How
Nice.
old was he for his birthday, if I may ask?
Uh, oh geez.
Came out in 95, if that helps.
That does help.
Forgot
15?
Bruce Campbell was in this movie.
Yeah, it's got way more people than it has any right to, but I think it was like his 15th birthday, 14
Okay.
or 15. But the funniest part was his sister is named Amy, and the gorilla in the movie is named Amy.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
Oh
so
no.
the thing that brought us the most joy was him like doing fake sign language and saying "Amy, ugly gorilla" and things like that to his sister, who had been
Oh,
nice
Listen,
enough to give us a ride to the movie theater. So
listen,
classic
he
sometimes
should have been
little
nicer.
brother.
sometimes all you need though is like you remembering Congo. It's like sometimes you just need Tim Curry to be in a movie and you're just gonna remember him for the most part.
Yeah.
Just like eating sesame cake obnoxiously
Yep.
and getting yelled at by Ernie Hudson.
Listen, I love the Fern Gully movie and I love Robin Williams. He's right up there, but I still remember Toxic Love because Tim Curry. So it's totally understandable.
Yeah. Tim Curry is just one of those ridiculously memorable
Hmm.
actors for me, I guess. I
Hmm.
don't know. This is my life experience. Anything Tim Curry's in, I know that
Would you
he's in it.
say that would you say that he is the lead in this movie? If you could even say this movie has a lead.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the beauty of an ensemble cast
Hmm.
is that there's no real lead, but yeah, if you had to pick one, I would say he's the lead in this for sure.
I
Yeah, because
agree.
I'm making you pick one.
Yeah. Yeah, Tim Curry's the lead. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Would you say different?
it's the
I
dogs.
I think Tim Curry is the lead, but I feel like the real lead of this movie is the house, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
Because it is so important to this plot and
Hmm.
in the secret passages, the just the layout of these rooms, um,
Hmm.
and how well they replicated the feel of the board game with the look
Hmm.
of this house is amazing to me.
Yeah,
Um,
and that
and
makes
yeah,
sense.
I feel like
Go
yeah,
ahead.
so
Sorry.
I feel like that the house is as much or more of a character than anybody else in the house.
And I can
Yeah.
agree with that because they made it a big deal that they had to have it happen in the house. It could not be
Hmm.
anywhere else because a lot of writers that did that did pitches, they didn't really stick to the house or they did it kind of in a grander scale. And that is not what the idea was. It had to happen in the house. So I completely see your point because again, this is a board game
Mhm.
and the reality is that no matter what version of this game you play, it is in one singular building.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
there's no and maybe there is an exception to the rule. I'm not sure, but based off of everything that I've seen from, the board game is that it exists in a house. The characters can change, but it is in one location.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's very much accurate,
Hmm.
and it's such a cool setup for shenanigans. This house,
Uh-huh.
and it's both a little bit intimidating, especially in the beginning, and it also becomes like a major source of hilarity as they're as the incongruousness of them, like you know, uh, slapsticking around in this beautiful stately home as they run across this, you know, hallway that's the size of my bedroom, as wide as my bedroom and back.
Yeah, I mean, when I first watched it, I knew that one of them was going to be a killer, but when they were spreading out and searching the house, you're seeing all the different like all the different rooms and the way that they filmed some scenes. I did question for a minute or two, was there like an extra person or was there someone who was pretending to be dead that was actually the killer? My very first time watching it. Um,
Hmm.
Specifically, the scene that comes to mind is when Miss Scarlet sees she's in the I can't remember which room it is, but she's in the room by herself and she sees a curtain moving. And they did it
Oh
so
yeah.
well because she looked like she
Hmm.
wanted to scream, but she was by herself, so she had to take care of it. And then it turned out that it was a broken piece of glass. But I was like, oh my God, is there actually, like, I think that's the scene that made me go, is there actually somebody in this house that I don't know about? And the answer was maybe the singing telegram girl, but she didn't last very long. So,
Yeah, and all the secret passages and stuff kind of lends it to that too, right? Because it's very
Yeah.
much I can't think of anything other than right now than the Black Christmas from the early 2000s where Billy is like hiding in the walls of the house, or that Gary Busey
Yeah.
movie where Gary Busey is living in the walls of this house in secret,
hmm
hide her in the house. Um, but yeah, it's very interesting because the initial thought is right. Okay, it's one of these people. Then you're kind of like, was it one of these people who's like has showed up at the door in like a a red? Are they just red herrings, or are they actual
hmm
herrings, or
No,
whatever the opposite of a
communism.
red herring is? Yes,
Communism is just a red herring.
which is a very funny line to me. Um, and yeah, and it's they really do kind of like lay the groundwork for like, okay, maybe it's somebody who's not in this movie, and maybe that's our big twist. Hashtag M Night Shyamalan.
Ugh.
Uh, uh,
Well, but
but yeah,
that
that's an interesting
actually,
theory. Yeah.
but that
Yeah.
brings up a very good point. The secret passages and everything like that. And I think and this is just me, and you guys can tell me if, you have a different opinion on it. I think that's one of the reasons why Miss Scarlet's ending and everyone being the killer works, because I felt like Miss Scarlet knowing all the secret passages because Yvette told her was far more believable
Yeah.
than Mrs. Peacock's way of finding out how all the secret passages work.
Hmm.
And then with the final, with the true ending, as some people call it, it's that they all learn about these secret passages from either the people that got them in trouble or from learning about it after the fact. I think that that's what makes those two endings so more believable than ending two, technically.
No, that's a really good point.
hmm
We've said a lot about a movie that, again, is one of those, it's got a
It's
lot
both
going
like
on and not a lot going on at the same time.
Uh-huh.
I was gonna say, it's like paper thin, but there's so much stuff written on the
hmm
paper, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's
it's
a perfect
it's
way of
not a
describing it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not like a book. Yeah, it's crazy because if you went back and forth and tried to describe the movie scene by scene, it would take you forever. But when you
hmm
boil it
Yeah.
down to the basic plot, it is literally just like
A
people
few
start dying
sentences.
in this
Yeah,
house, and we have to
Yeah.
figure out who the killer is. It's
yeah.
very much the most like bog standard classic Agatha Christie mystery
Mhm.
story.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's literally the description on the back of the clue board box.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
but it's there's also so much more to it that
hmm
is brought
mm,
to it primarily by the actors and by the script, but mostly the
hmm
actors. Like uh,
hmm
Madeline Kahn is a genius, and the way she plays off of like Martin Mull
Mhm.
and is really funny. Martin Mullen, I believe it is Miss Scarlet, have some very fun, or Mrs. White have some very funny scenes together.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, Mrs. Peacock is her reactions to everything are so incredibly funny.
Mhm.
Her like I think you called it her hysteria, her what was it, neurosis level,
Yes,
or
I said
Yeah.
neurosis. Yeah.
yeah, her level of neurotic energy throughout this thing is spectacular, and it really elevates the character by making her like she's always got some kind of business, right?
Mhm. And um the splitting up scene with the pairs was, I think, so perfect because you have like Yvette, who is, I guess, supposed to be like the standard in this movie, like sex icon, other than Miss Scarlet, and
Mhm.
Mr. Green, who has absolutely no interest in her whatsoever and is like, oh, you can go up there. If a killer's up there, I don't care. And then you've got Wadsworth, um, depending upon like, whatever version of his story, and Mrs. White, who's kind of alluded to being a, Black Widow. Um, and then you've got Eileen, then you've got Mrs. Peacock with, you know, her neuroses, and Professor Plum, who's creepy, but muted creepy, I suppose. And you could probably say the same about Colonel Mustard, and then Miss Scarlet, who is just so, she's the one who I genuinely like do adore because she's just so into this whole murder mystery thing. Like she's so fascinated by it and
Mhm.
intrigued in comparison to everyone else who's like, we need to get the hell out of here. And she's like, no, I want to know the story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
and that's a good balance with her and Colonel Mustard, right? Because
hmm
Is Colonel Mustard at points is verging on Miss Peacock levels of neurosis
hmm
Yeah.
to
yeah,
me, and just of how he was responding to these things. It's very much not a military what you would assume would a military bearing would be, right? You would
would
think,
keep
oh,
his
he's a
cool.
colonel,
Yeah.
Yeah.
he'd keep his cool, he'd see some shit, but no, he's 100% one of those colonels who's never been in the field. He's always been behind a desk. He doesn't have the stomach for actual fighting, and
He's
Yeah.
just a
he
big
knows
soft
that his
dum dum.
Very
yeah, and
much.
he knows that yes, exactly, and that's a very funny pairing of like the guy who should be gung ho, let's solve this mystery
hmm
is absolutely the opposite of that. And
Yeah.
it's very funny to
Yeah.
me.
Very polar opposites with each pairing, which I think
Hmm.
is perfect because in reality, they're looking for supposedly the killer. And they all have, I think that those are also moments where you really see like who they are as a person. Is it fight or flight, or are they going to beat up on somebody, or are they going to sacrifice somebody? Like I
Yeah.
think that's a scene that, it's a very long scene when you think about it, because this movie was like 2 hours long or something like
It's
that.
an hour and a half. It is a
Is it
tight 90
really?
minutes. Yep.
Oh, your
And that
favorite.
is that is with all endings, by the way,
Oh,
Yeah,
included.
okay.
Yep.
so that means the
Yeah.
original cut was like probably an hour and 20.
Yeah, a little less than
Probably.
that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yep.
No wonder I love this movie so much.
I know. It's the perfect length. It's the
Mm-hmm.
perfect length.
And it's funny because I watched it on Amazon Prime, and
Mm-hmm.
it was like $4 to rent or $5 to buy, so I just paid the extra dollar, and I now own it forever.
I did the
Um,
same thing.
As you
but
should.
I was like, I kind of want to because usually a lot of times I'll end up watching things on like 1.25 speed
Mhm.
instead
Mm-hmm.
of the standard speed, unless it's something where I feel like I'm going to gain something by watching it in its original, speed. But there's not that option on Amazon, which always makes me kind of mad when I have
Mm-hmm.
to go to Amazon for
Yeah.
things. But with this one, it was like, okay, I'm glad I didn't do that because this movie is on like 1.5 speed naturally.
All the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like even when it slows down a little bit, like it does in the pairing scenes, there's so much stuff happening that it's like it it doesn't feel slow. It feels
Hmm.
like revelatory. Like, okay, you need to. So you need to pay attention to this because not only is there going to be some good jokes, we're going to learn something about these people, and you're going to get some of their motivations, and we're going to dig a little deeper into why they might be the killer, which I
Hmm.
thought was a really good way to further muddy the waters.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think we've unpacked just about
Hmm.
jam-packed paper thin movie, but with with all that, I think it's probably time for some final thoughts, recommendations, popcorn ratings. Ron, would you like to kick us off with your popcorn rating for this movie?
Sure. Going back to watch this for the first time in like 20 years was a lot of fun. I'd forgotten how enjoyable this movie is, how quick it is, how clever it is, how much it harkens back to things that I really love, like the Marx Brothers comedies, and uh, over the New Year's season, I watched The Thin Man and had a great time watching The Thin Man, and how much this movie kind of ties back into that level of like pre-code. Like, it's a mystery, but it's also kind of a comedy, and it works on both levels. And you're going to be like, man, how does this work on all these levels? But it does. Um, and yeah, just Tim Curry, amazing performance. Madeline Kahn, just absolutely fabulous. Leslie Ann Brennan, like top notch. Everybody in Martin Mull, Christopher Lloyd. Like, it's a movie that is like every one of these people is going to be a person who, in any other movie, would probably be like the standout performer because they're going to show up. They may have 10 scenes and they'll steal all those scenes and they'll take the movie by force. Uh, I mean, because we've seen like pretty much everybody in the movie have that capability and do that previously in other things. But that said, everybody gets a chance to like shine and do their bits and have their business. And all of these different characters bouncing off each other, clashing off each other. The energy is so high throughout. Um, we, you know, Ryan will probably talk about the more theatrical aspects of the staging in a way that I cannot, but like it just crackles like energy and juice, and like there's even when it slows down, it slows down because it's got more jokes it wants to squeeze in. It doesn't slow down because they're out of ideas. So with that, I'm going to give this a large popcorn, man. I had a great time with this bad boy, and I'm glad I paid the extra dollar to own it forever because it is definitely going to be worked back into my rotation uh, of movies, especially when I get to if I try to do the May movie challenge, the May murder mystery movie challenge that a friend of the podcast, Sarah Stubbs, is organizing. Uh, I'm going to come back to this one for that because, yeah, it'll be a great fit.
Yay. Ryan, what about you? What's your popcorn rating?
I absolutely love this film. This like feeds like the theatrical side of me. As Ron pointed out, this is an incredible cast of actors, and I don't think that anybody uh, over like everybody just, as he said, feeds off this energy so perfectly. It's well balanced. It is fast paced, and from the decor to the costumes to just the music, it is an absolutely fantastic time. There's a reason why this is one of my go-to films when I just want some comfort. Um, and I never get tired of it. I always find something a little bit more exciting and new every single time that I watch it that I didn't catch the time before. I think it is just a treat, and I'm with Ron. I gladly paid the dollar, and it's mine, and I have it on DVD too. Um, it's a family favorite. I've introduced people to this movie and they see pretty much the exact same thing that I do. Um, it's a great stage play on film. And that's why I love this so much. And I am also going to join in on the large popcorn. But a specifically, it is a homemade popcorn that is tailored perfectly for me. And that is my rating.
I love it. I agree with everything both of you have already said. Ron, great pull with the Marx Brothers. I did not even think about that. And Thin Man, which actually is maybe one of my favorite film series. And if people listening have never seen any of the Thin Man movies, they are just a delight. And the pacing is similar but not. This is like watching an unhinged version of the Thin Man at 1.25 speed, I feel like, or 1.5 speed for sure. And
definitely.
and
Yep.
it is so fun. The character acting is so fun. I also would concur with you, Ryan. This movie feels like it was tailored to my personal tastes. It's just a fun marriage of wacky and film and theatrical bits and pieces and odds and ends, and Tim Curry just being an Olympian through the whole thing. It's just so fun. I've loved it for, oh my gosh, like 23 years now, I think, if I'm doing the math right, and I will continue to watch it. I too own it on digital and physical media, and it's it's just such a delight to watch, and I'm really glad that I had the opportunity to revisit it and talk about it with some of my favorite people. So I am also going to give it a large popcorn and make it a unanimous large from the Film Strip podcast folks here. And I hope you know, I'm I don't I was gonna say I hope everyone agrees, but I don't care if you do or not. It's still a large for me.
You can't have my popcorn. Get your
Yeah.
own.
No, I've got my popcorn, and I love this movie and love talking about it with you all. So, anyone listening, you can find and follow us on social media at Film Strip Pod. We share announcements about upcoming shows as well as other fun content. And don't forget to subscribe and share the show. Bonus points if you leave us a positive review. It does help other people find our podcast, and it makes us feel really good about ourselves. And let's face it, we could all use a little confidence boost from time to time. Until next time, thanks for listening to Film Strip.
Thank you for listening to Film Strip. You can find more episodes on our website, filmstrippodcast.com. The Film Strip theme music is produced and performed by Frozen Lake 121. All content used or discussed in these podcast episodes is the property of the respective owners and used under the Fair Use Act, Section 504, C2, Title 17.